Ettie Ben-Shabat for contribution to the profession. Ettie has made an outstanding and sustained contribution to neurological physiotherapy through clinical practice, research, education and professional leadership. With more than 2 decades of experience, she's built a career that bridges neuroscience and rehabilitation, helping clinicians translate complex brain imaging into practical tools for assessment, treatment planning, prognosis and patient education. As a senior clinician and researcher at Caulfield Hospital Alfred Health and founder of Brain Rehab Academy, she's developed an innovative approach that empowers physios and multidisciplinary teams to use neuroanatomical reasoning to improve patient care. She's contributed extensively to the profession through research in stroke rehabilitation, spasticity, proprioception, lateral propulsion and movement disorders, while presenting internationally and nationally, educating thousands of clinicians through workshops, seminars, podcasts and online education. Through her vision, innovation and commitment to knowledge translation, she's significantly advanced neurological physiotherapy and improved rehabilitation practice across Australia and beyond. So congratulations to Ettie, and come up and say a few words.
I want to thank the APA and Victorian Branch Council for this award. I also want to thank the clinician who nominated me. This is, well, I'm honoured and humbled by this recognition. I also want to thank my husband and my family, friends and colleagues for their unwavering support. 30 years ago, around about, when I started as a new grad rotating physio, I wanted to treat my patients the best way I could. And when I got to my neuro rotation, I felt that I should be able to use brain imaging to treat my patients even better. And the reason I thought that was because musculoskeletal physios and cardiorespiratory physios, I have seen them using imaging to deliver better care to their patients, to understand them, to assess better, to treat better. And I felt that I should be able to do that as someone who in neuro rehab. As it turns out, there was actually a gap in that space. So in preparing my few words for today, I was reflecting on my journey and I was thinking, there's actually 3 turning points that I'd like to share with you in my career. The first one was when I realized that radiologists are actually about making a diagnosis. What interests them is the pathology. So they're looking through glasses of pathology, and the link between lesion location, anatomy and function is beyond their scope of practice. In fact, geriatricians and rehab consultants and neurologists couldn't answer my questions either. The second turning point was when I took a PhD in brain imaging and neuroscience, and that gave me the tools that I needed to look at brain imaging, the clarity of thinking to understand how I can translate that to clinical practice, and also the research skills to make me the clinician I wanted to be. The third turning point was when I created my business, Brain Rehab Academy, and I started educating rehab clinicians about how to use brain imaging. Initially, I thought I'll be educating neurophysios, but it turned out, or I discovered quite quickly, that this gap was relevant to neuropsychologists and OTs and speech pathologists and registrars and nurses and rehab consultants as well. So that the courses became multidisciplinary, which meant that the conversations about patients changed. They started to be around what is the potential for recovery of this person, based on evidence from scans, not on gut feeling. What is the evidence for choosing a particular treatment over another? What's the evidence for prioritizing which discipline as well? So then I reflected on the 3 main learnings that I had throughout my career, and there's 3 of them. The first one is about being curious and asking why. Why is person A, who had MCA stroke, presenting so differently from person B, who also had MCA stroke? Why is clinical assessment enough? When clinical assessment shows me, for example, that a person has a problem with movement, but not why is this problem with movement? Why is this person having this problem? And it also made me think about, why am I going to give 100 repetitions to someone who's got a problem with movement when their primary motor cortex is clearly impacted? The second learning is about being courageous and daring to think differently. The fact that radiologists couldn't answer my questions meant that I had to go into the brain images and find the information myself. And if that meant learning how to do brain imaging, then that becomes part of my scope of practice. And my third learning was about being committed to my vision. And my vision is precision rehabilitation. A lot of us think about evidence-based practice as using the literature, which is often based on group studies, and applying that to our patients. But for me, evidence-based practice is one step further. What is the evidence from the brain images that will help me treat this patient the best way I can? Receiving this award is a great recognition, but it's also encouragement for me. So I want to extend that encouragement to other physios that work in rehab and also other rehab clinicians to embrace precision rehabilitation and integrate that into everyday practice. So thank you, everyone.